The MCU has been in a bit of a rough patch right now, right? Is what I would say, but I also feel like people be dragging it like there haven't been some gems post Endgame. Come on. I think the real problem is that before this year, there was just so much being released like all the time, which probably made the garbage and mid shine a little more. But don't lie like you enjoyed every single movie in the first two phases. Phase 3, a whole different story though. That was genuinely just hit after hit after hit. But this post Endgame era hasn't really been all bad, right? Far From Home and No Way Home were some heat. Shang-Chi banged. That was literally hands the movie. Wakanda Forever was low-key better than the first movie. Not by a lot, but low-key. But we're not ready to have that conversation yet. And that's alright. Guardians 3 was a whole masterpiece. The Marvels was actually vibes as hell too. The shows were all mighty hit or miss. But you know, that's kind of the theme of these right now, right? So then where does that leave Deadpool? People been hyping this movie to hell and back, me included. So now that it's out, did it do what it needed to do? Truthfully, I don't have the answers, but I can say everybody's right about this movie, at least a little bit. Hear me out. Alright, look, off rip, we gotta start with a little spoiler warning, you feel me? By the time this video drops, the movie will have been out for like a week, but just in case you still ain't seen it, it seemed like a lot of people have a lot of different and mixed feelings about this movie, which is kind of interesting. I personally thought this was fire, gas, smoke, heat, flames. But I also get why some people don't really with it. Off rip, literally frame one of the movie though, instant banger. The entire first action sequence was some of the most beautiful ever, bruh. Hands on top of hands on top of hands. That nigga was moving like too. The fake out old man Logan skeleton was also the perfect tone setter, dog. They really almost got me when he said,
"Hey, that ain't how regen work, gang."
But nah, the nigga's really gone. Also, the callbacks to the first two movies were great too. And they actually stuck with the continuity of post Loki season 2, unlike a certain movie that completely ignored the series that came before it and was supposed to be extremely vital to the plot. I wonder what movie that could be. I wonder. Bro, Paradox was trying to boom up straight to the Shadow Realm, but I was like, wait, I thought the TVA don't move like that anymore. But it was pretty quickly explained that he was on some rogue agent shit. Side note, the end of Loki season 2 was genuinely the best conclusion any singular character got in the entire cinematic universe, dog. That was perfect. Rest of the season was kind of mad, but hey, it was all worth it in the end. I was curious as to whether or not Loki would show up in this movie, but it does make sense why he didn't. Shout out B15 though. The Void stuff was pretty awesome too, not gonna lie. They really made use of how infinite the Shadow Realm truly is. And then these dudes started boxing. The end of Logan was really the first time we saw Hugh Jackman's version of the character really go berserk on some Marvel vs. Capcom shit. But in this movie, he was a whole different beast. Literally. Frame 1 of the fight, this man gets down on all fours and starts full animal sprinting at the nigga. I seen that and I was immediately like, oh yeah, this better be hands the movie. Two dudes with insane regen just going insane. I'm also glad they got to fight multiple times throughout the movie and make each fight interesting in a different way. The first fight was in a super huge open field and that gave a lot of room for crazy choreo, but the second fight was like 93% in a car. And oh my goodness, there was no dodging, no evading, no possible chance of escaping any single hit. The return of 2005 Chris Evans, Johnny Storm was fire too. Literally, hey, they really tried us with that fake out. Bro, Pyro also hold the fuck out of him, but it was mad funny. The way his fireworks versus Johnny Storm's flame does make for a bad matchup too. It's like if Ace fought somebody whose ability was to suck up flames from a pre-existing source. This man was just the perfect flame battery. And then we meet Cassandra Nova and holy she is so menacing. She put Johnny in her blunt in less than a second. The way her powers work are infinitely cooler looking than basic telepathy too. Shout out Professor X and but literally look, I really only knew her by name and origin, so this was the first time I seen her powers in full effect, and oh my goodness, she stick her hands inside your face and crawl around in your brain if you're lucky. Or she can literally suck the skin off you in the blink of an eye. Or she could just telekinetically fling you into oblivion. She dead might be more cracked than Charles Xavier. I'm sure he's probably a better telepath, but she got like hella other powers too. I think her her basically living her whole life in the void is a fun transposition of her original origin, because it do get kind of convoluted. The cameos in this movie were also pretty cool too. I know people were talking about Tobey Maguire popping out, but I truly kept my expectations kind of low. Who we did get was kind of goated though. Look, they was kind of fire. OG Electrifier, Blade in a building once again, X-23 to go back, and Channing Tatum Gambit. The moment this man opened his mouth, I was dead. Seeing his powers live action was also cool, but me personally, I think the entire medium of superhero should really be animated, but that's a discussion for another day. Gambit was great though. I slick hope he just stays in Deadpool's universe forever now. Also, I thought old man Loki killed Elias in the first season, but I guess not. It's been like 3 years, so I really don't remember it all. I also really wanted to see Laura get in her Wolverine suit, but hey, I'll take the Logan shades too. Speaking of Logan, watching this man finally put the cowl on was insane. This shit looked beautiful, and he kept it on for like the entire rest of the movie. It had the white eyes instead of normal ass eye holes too, and it wasn't on no nanotech either. Cold hard classic. The montage of Logan variants was also great. I never knew about Calvin Wolverine being a popular fan cast, but that actually did look fire. Also very interesting that like 99% of this movie technically didn't take place in the MCU's universe. Like, I guess on a technicality you could say like the TVA portions are like technically the MCU, because it's like, but that's like outside of the whole on a technicality, yes, but most of this movie took place not in the actual, like, you feel me, the actual type B. I could be tripping, but at one point people said this movie was gonna lead directly into Secret Wars and things like that, but it was probably for the best that it didn't end up that way. It seemed like these motherfuckers have lost their overarching saga plan. Oh yeah, there was also a Thor cameo here too. I don't think the larger MCU has the foresight to make this scene actually happen the way this saga been going, but this was funny as hell. But this movie is far from perfect, and a lot of people have some genuinely real criticisms of this movie that are worth hearing. For starters, the plot kinda sorta don't make sense for real. They also introduced another multiverse vocab word that feels a little unnecessary, you feel me? Like the whole anchor being feels like what Multiverse of Madness did with establishing incursions. Not every Deadpool joke lands either, but like most of them do, not gonna lie. I think it's certain things he tries to make fun of that's like, I can't tell if this is satire or not, but because it's Deadpool, I don't really care, because he does make fun of everything all the time, you feel me? Also, I know the time stuff gets a little weird, but also timeline stuff never made sense in any of the movies in the Deadpool trilogy. Days of Future Past was great, but it did some Zelda ass to the timeline of those Fox movies. I feel like the whole point of Deadpool has always been to somewhat exist outside of the main and be its own little thing anyway, which is how the movie ended, which was cool. I really was not expecting him to stay in his universe, but I'm kind of glad he did. It will be kind of crazy to just abandon everything and jump ship. He's also definitely gonna pop out in the next Avengers movie anyway too. Also, a lot of people are looking at some of these movies as action figures being smashed together, and really that's fair as in the case of this movie, but because it's Deadpool and also because I watched it almighty fried, I thought it was great. Hey look, maybe I'm a simple motherfucker for enjoying it, but it's also the same thing with this Doomsday news with Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Victor Von Doom. Look, maybe I'm a simple pea-brain motherfucker for like kind of being excited for this. Like, I'm sorry, look, I ain't seen a second of the movie, and neither have you. Yo family, just like wait, it could be dog water, but it also could be some gas. It also could be some heat, you feel me? Look, I'm just a talking, but what if we just wait? But yeah, not everything has to be super plot heavy, but I also do really understand the perspective of people who didn't like that aspect either. It really all just depends on what you were looking for with this movie. I don't know how I would feel on a rewatch, but the first viewing was pretty great, not gonna lie. I would like to rewatch it as soon as possible, so that's probably a good sign, right? But yeah, I think neither party is really wrong about this movie, low-key. The motherfuckers that love it and the motherfuckers that hate it are both onto something. So is this the movie that's gonna save the MCU? I don't know, maybe not. But I really feel like people should have said that about Guardians 3 or Wakanda Forever. I do think that because it's Deadpool, more people are gonna show up. Deadpool and Wolverine at that. This low-key makes me want to play a bunch of Marvel Capcom fighting games right now. Hey, look, I just recently discovered X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Children of the Atom for the first time. Like, first time playing it. Oh my goodness. All I'm gonna say is wait till MVC2 re-releases. Look, I might gotta cook niggas online. I might gotta cook you niggas online. god. X-Men 97 Slick still got me in an X-Men mood, and this movie just amplified it even more. And MVC 2 is coming back. GG's. But yeah, shout out Deadpool and Wolverine, and shout out you.
I can't feel my face right now, I'm burning up. I got this feeling that I won't come down, like, got this feeling that I won't come